Walk and talk. 26. Transgenders. Oh well, that's only been a thing for what, 25 years? I mean, I remember that Big Brother show, they put on that Nadia character as a tranny, and that's when it all started to really get into people's consciousness. It's a sad, very sad state of affairs, but that's what it's come to. That's how much people in this world have let down their guard and become weak. Our men, the men that are meant to be preserving and protecting the children and their nation, have let it all go because they've all been getting on the lash. They've all been broken down, been made fun of in all the television programs. And almost men in the Western world now are just seen as a joke. But the transgender movement is really transhumanism in disguise. You know, it starts with cutting off your bits and bobs, and then 15 years down the line they'll be mixing people in petri dishes with fish genes, just like they do with your tomatoes and all your other genetically modified food. Oh dear me. As if we last that long, folks. As if it lasts that long. But yeah, that's what it comes down to, transhumanism, and getting a chip in your brain. Once you start cutting your bits and bobs off, and that becomes acceptable. And it has, even for children, which is so sad. But once you start doing that, then a chip in the old brain isn't that much of a far-fetched deal, is it? It becomes easily more acceptable. And so does mixing people, mixing human genes with the genes of other animals in laboratories, which I have no doubt they're already doing. That's probably where you're going to find your alien species when they decide to bring them forth on the world stage. We have I've met a whole number of transgenders, and I always felt sad for them. Most of them. Some of them were just blatantly soulless, and they had no soul. They had just a spirit, and they wanted to get off in the world. There's that spirit just wanted to get off in the world while it had a body. That's, I suppose, sad in a way as well. But they have no qualms, those types of people, of bringing down others with souls. But most of the transgender people that I've helped, I've spoke to many of them when in previous jobs, they're like helping to try and prevent them from committing suicide. But all of them are miserable. I never met a happy one. I never, ever met a happy person who was transgender. And people say, oh, it's because they get picked on. Of course, we're always getting picked on. I'm like, nah, the ones that I met weren't getting picked on. I think the major picking is them picking on themselves. I love these. Bagbirds, Matilla birds. There's more in that tree there too, see? Probably not going to get a response out of them this morning. We had one back there from another one. Good boy for us. Come on. Come on, bloody hell. And yeah, so transgenders. And I have members. I had a member. Bumped into a member of the LGBTQRST UVWXYZ community. You bump into them more and more often now. These are all people that have been mentally mangled, spiritually mangled and indoctrinated. They're operating on one hemisphere or the other hemisphere more strongly than the other in their own head. It's a spiritual war, remember? Anyway, so she's just saying, oh yeah, you know, transgenders get picked on and whatever. And I just told her how sad it was. You've seen these little children getting their bodies chopped up, man. It's outrageous. I can't even watch those videos. It knocks me ill. But anyway, so this transgender saying, oh, you know, she's not a tranny herself, I don't think. Well, I think she was perhaps gay or something. I don't mind what people are, really. If it makes you happy, go and be whatever you want to be, but don't push it on the children. Don't start putting it into schools for children to learn. Leave the children alone. You see, if you're a real man with some real balls and some real strength, that's your whole purpose, you know that? To stand up for the children, eh? I guess people have forgotten though. Not most of my audience. I think they know the score. Most of you lot know the score. So this LGBTQRSTUV12345 plus person said, she said, oh, I'm talking about trans and I turned around and said to her, well, every single transgender I've ever met have been miserable. I've had to prevent some of them from committing suicide. Like, they're always looking down at the floor, they're always in a miserable state. And I turn around and I say, okay. I said, it's a spiritual problem, right? It's a problem in the brain. What people call mental illness. We've gone over this in previous videos. There's no such thing as mental illness. It's spiritual. It's a spiritual problem. So she said, this thing said, oh no, it's not mental illness. It's not mental illness. You know, I was like, well, there's nothing in nature that wants to chop its bits and bobs off, right? There's nothing in there that thinks that the great artist didn't make it perfectly and therefore wants to chop its own bits and bobs off. So I always just turn around to the transgenders, and I just settle the dispute instantly. I just turn around to them and I go, okay, well, if the transgender is not a mental illness, what about transabled people? That's not a mental illness either, then, is it? And they're like, transabled? What's transabled? Well, so they know all about the trans. Where's the colour for the transabled people? Why don't they get a shout out? Why aren't they part of the community? Why aren't they part of the LGBTQ 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 9, 8 community? Why aren't they part of that? Transabled people, you know, the transabled people, the people that make themselves blind because they believe they were born disabled, or they get a leg chopped off or an arm cut off because they believe that they were born without, they believe that they should have been born without an arm, or they believe they should have been born blind. Yeah, look, they've heard me. Oh, they've heard me. Woo, woo, woo. Transabled. So I say to them, well, what about transabled people? And then the transgender, this LGBTQ whatever person looks at me, and they say, transabled? Oh, I'll have to look into that. I've never heard of it. How have you never heard of it? Why aren't you protecting these people? You're out there protecting everyone else who's chopping off their bits and their bobs. Why aren't you protecting the transabled community? Now, and you explain to them what transabled is, and you ask them, you say, what, you tell me, is that a mental issue, or is that okay to chop your leg off because you think that you were born disabled? And they say, well, they say nothing. They don't give you an answer because they can't answer it, because they know that if they say that that's okay, or if they say that it's not okay, if they say transabled people is mental health issue, then what they're basically saying is, well, then transgender is a mental health issue also, right? And that's how you get them. That's how you get them. When you have a talk, whenever you have to speak to them. Some of them, I'll be honest, aren't bad people. They're just, you got to look at these people as mentally incapacitated, because that's what they are. Woo, woo, woo. Woo! 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 They're all kicking off now. I love this water. I think that pretty much covers it for transgender. Has been pushed on people, and of course all the plastics, all the chemtrails, all the stuff they put into our diet, all the injections, and in things, yeah, all the injections. That's all what's been making people weak and transgenderish. It's so sad with children though. It's so sad. Alright then, Rooski Woo. We ready? Oh yes we are. Oh no you don't. Yeah. Be blessed everyone. Until next time.